Welcome everyone, this is Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, and we're going through a special edition of our Busy Webinars. I have Heather, Rachel, and Chris Lauer here with me, and they are the co-hosts of an upcoming event that we're doing on February 9th together. This is for business owners that are trying to wake up their businesses for the new year. And as a matter of fact, the conference name is going to be Wake Up Business Conference. So as we do in these things, I tend to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do, but I want to give that radio time this time to Chris and Heather. So let's jump right in. And for folks that don't know you each, Heather, do you want to start and just kind of give a little bit about who you are and what you do inside of strategic business development?
Certainly. Thanks, Dave. Well, as Dave mentioned, I'm Heather Rachel, and I own and operate Strategic Business Development. We've been around for about 7 years, and we work with business owners that are typically $5 million in revenue and below that on how to grow their business and put together growth strategies towards their success. So happy to be participating in this workshop with both of you. And what I would like to be covering on February 9th is educating business owners and showing them ways to enhance their leadership and culture within their organization, understanding why your employees would or wouldn't want to work for you. And so in doing that, it's an intense focus on the leadership and understanding why it all starts with you as a business owner. And we'll also be looking at the differences within the culture that you have in your organization, determining whether or not that is one that is defined or is it rather by default. So as I walk through and go through some certain bullet points, the big takeaways that I think business owners can look for here in this workshop on my piece is, first of all, how to instill and empower how to instill value and empowerment with intention to your employees, effectively communicate to your entire company and how you go about doing that, as well as establishing authentic core values and not just buzzwords that a lot of companies like to use in their mission statement and core values. Discussing how to get rid of the old ways and embracing the new ones, which can be very challenging for business owners. And the importance of creating effective and efficient systems and processes so that your company can get stuck from where it is and grow and move forward. And lastly, why fun matters within the organization or your employees, and what that will bring for you as a business owner as to growing your business.
Awesome. Okay. And for folks, just to give a little bit of background on why Wake Up Business, that's actually an acronym that we came up with to go through the big strategic steps that you need to think about. So, Heather really talks about leadership and culture and how to do that. And as we focus with our business owners on this event, we're going to talk about W, what's your growth goal? A, actions to take. K, know your plan. And E, execute for results. So, Heather, thank you for teeing that up for us. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means as we continue with our conversation. I want to give Chris a little bit of time to introduce himself and Sterling Cross. So Chris, take it away.
Sure. I'm Christopher Lauer. Been a co-owner at Sterling Cross Communications for going on 15, 16 years. I have just even further depth of marketing and PR background beyond. Sterling Cross Communications is a PR digital marketing firm based here in the Twin Cities. We focus on all sorts and sizes of business, from enterprise to mom and pop and startups. I'm going to be talking about the importance of storytelling. In 2017, it is going to be urgent to tell your story. And that's anywhere, if you're a startup, that's your story. You've been a startup, but as you're a growing business, there are even more stories to tell that we sometimes get a little lost in the mix because we don't think we have that great startup story for a startup. Now we're an established company. What stories do we have to tell? Well, there's some pretty important ones, such as, are you going to do business in a new market? Are you launching a new product line? Are you launching a new location? Have you grown or met certain milestones above and beyond that you even projected when you were a startup? These are all important stories to be told. And there's the different channels that we're going to be utilizing this year to tell these stories. You're going to want to know the difference between earned media, which is when media such as business outlets will cover you. There's your owned media, which are all the channels that you own, your proprietary channels to get your stories out on, meaning your social media properties, different websites or landing pages that you have, different blogs. And then the importance of paid media, and paid media is a little more strategic now with these social channels. You can highly target effective advertising across these social channels to help drive people to pay attention to your stories that you have. So we'll be covering those as well. And then as digital is ever increasing, and I just checked out some dynamic virtual reality programs, visual storytelling is the key to the future right now. So whether that's as simple as making sure your Instagram, Pinterest, your YouTube, your web video are all up to par, but virtual reality is coming, and you really need to be prepared for business uses above and beyond gaming that's out there. There are some dramatic applications coming for medical industries, high tech, regular business and training applications for these tools.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
And of course, then I'm going to wrap it in and share how to connect with your digital space on that. So whether it's Facebook and their battle with all of the fake news and things that have come up and the struggle that business owners have with trying to represent themselves authentically in a way that doesn't involve just advertising and or just begging people for likes, all the way down to the ways that Snapchat or other more interpersonal and kind of less formal methods of communication can help to get your message out and to connect more viscerally with the people that matter most to you and your business. Again, we're trying to wake up our businesses. And so the goal inside of that is to let business owners understand the steps that they have to take if they want to forge a relationship with their customers. And so that's where I'll step in. I want to step back for a second and talk a little bit more with all of us, kind of panel format, on what the biggest things that we see for 2017 are going to be. You know, Chris, you had mentioned augmented reality, and I got my kids for the holidays for Christmas a set of virtual reality goggles. So everybody was wandering around and bonking into walls at the Meyer household. Was tremendous fun, but it speaks a lot to the world is just opening up. And I think this is probably, especially in VR, this is going to be one of those things where you'll be able to tour offices or be able to tour products without ever having to go there or to physically see them. So things are getting really interesting now. Microsoft has HoloLens. A lot of the things that are coming out, the crazy $20 cheapo glasses that I got for my kids, they just have a little window. You can slide it to one side and use the camera to do augmented reality in 3D VR. It's crazy what you can do with that stuff. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that's going to back up and how we can take our businesses to the next level doing those sorts of things. So I guess I'll just leave that up to the panel or to the team here. What do you see in other things in 2017 that business owners trying to take their companies from survival mode into thrive mode are really going to start seeing and start to be able to use? This is probably companies that all of a sudden have gone from struggle to, okay, well, we actually need to work against the budget. And folks that are understanding that, yes, we need to manage our reputation, and yes, we need to think about strategy and how does that work in growing our businesses, and how do you make that work? So as I tend to do with these things, I talk way too much. So I want to hear from the experts. Heather, Chris, what do you guys think on how this stuff is going to work?
I think that in the upcoming year, it's going to become even more increasingly important to understand the roles that you have everybody placed in the organization and what they're doing and their responsibilities. In the past, we've seen a lot with the excuse me, for lack of better words, the additions that companies have brought with on-site childcare, maybe a nap room. They're trying to bring in these extra bells and whistles to enhance their employees' experience while they're at work. But there's also another shift that's been coming about too, where there's this huge balance of quality of life. And so maybe sometimes that's allowing certain employees and what they're doing to work virtually from home, and be able to have that quality of life that they're looking for. Maybe 8 to 5 isn't always a necessary. Maybe certain employees can have different hours, and not be so clocked in and managed. The whole point is that when you have happy employees, you will have happy customers, and you will be a happy business owner, and you will be productive, and you're not just going to be surviving anymore. You will definitely be thriving. And so I think those are a few key important things that employers really need to take a huge look at.
Thanks, Heather.
And I can just, the biggest thing is a lot of people took the last year or couple of years to really wrap their head around the concept of social media is not going away. It's not a fad. It is an effective business tool. We have to use it. To now, it's kind of, okay, what did I drop the ball on when I set up my social? Am I search optimized? Search is going to be a major factor going forward this year, because all of the different social channels and how they're ranked into the algorithms that are out there. If you can't be found, this is the new white pages. This is how your business gets found now online. And if you are still struggling to get a mobile-friendly website, if you're still struggling to have your website show up and be responsive on a tablet as opposed to a large screen, a majority of people are interacting just through these smaller devices now. And if your web content, all this brilliant content that you've invested in, doesn't look good on this or isn't legible, then you basically put a little money in the wastebasket. And it's time for us to reclaim that this year.
Absolutely. And there's also no more free lunch, I think, in certainly search engines, but also inside of just the way that we need to interact with social media. Used to be when you had a Facebook page, you could guarantee if you had 1,000 likes that maybe 400 people would see that. The edge rank, or what Facebook calls the likelihood that your website's going to get seen or your Facebook page is going to get seen, has now dropped under 2 or 3%. So that 400 audience is now turning into 20 or 30. And you need to be interesting, or you need to grease the skids. Zuckerberg's sitting in his hoodie with his hand out now saying, hey, we'd love to help you guys out, but the best way to connect with us is to make sure that you're paying to see that content. And so, there's for a lot of our clients that have started up and did a lot of work in the past 5 years, they're now seeing exactly that problem with the mobile responsive websites, because they don't have a responsive site, and Google doesn't show your website on a mobile device if it doesn't look good on a mobile device. Seems obvious in retrospect, but Google's job, as the same for all of the social networks, is to make their content as useful and engaging as possible for their audiences. And I have to remind our clients this sometimes, but end users aren't really the customers anymore inside of social networks, and certainly inside of search. End users are the product. People are sharing and connecting with advertisers more than anything. Facebook's audience are people that are paying for ads, and the content or the product that they sell is all of the things that they know about their audiences. So I can reach 20-somethings that are within 5 miles of a company's business that are interested in auto mechanics and extreme sports and butterfly collecting. And it's just crazy the level of laser focused detail that you can bring. But that also brings a lot of responsibility in that you need to think about what's going to be engaging for the people that you're trying to reach. So in the olden days, you used to be able to just provide, in olden days, like 3 years ago, right? That's an eon ago in internet world. But in the olden days, you used to be able to just publish something on a link exchange.
Yep.
And link exchange hurt you now.
Yep.
So, and it's just so interesting and so exciting for people like us, but kind of frightful for business owners because all the rules keep changing.
Yep. Heather, I have a question. When we're doing a lot of 2017 planning with business owners, and a huge trend that they're seeing because of wages continue to rise across the board is that of hybrid employees. We do a lot of or hybrid titles. Case in point, we do a lot of work in the hospitality industry. Chefs are no longer just chefs. Chefs are also expected to be the back of the house manager, or they're doing the food ordering, or I'm talking to HR in another company, and the HR person is also expected to be communications and the training aspect. You're seeing a lot of these, I guess, hybrid positions being created. Is that what you're seeing? And do you have a quick thought on that?
I don't have a problem if you're going to create the hybrid positions, but you need to understand if that is a strength for that particular employee or not. So as a lot of companies mistake, being lean and operating lean, then it also, the other side of that coin is, but is that person able to do that? Is that their strength? Are they qualified to do that? Again, it comes down to the systems and processes. So if this makes your company operate more efficiently and more effectively, then and people are happy and they're able to do that and they're qualified to do it, then go ahead. But if you're trying to make, a chef also be responsible for scheduling who's going to be working in the back kitchen, and that's, taking away from his creativity and time and putting together the menus and ordering the food, then that's maybe not such a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think talent is going to be a key factor here, and finding those, I don't want to use that overused term of that magical unicorn out there, but sometimes you do need to really do a great search and then find that talented person and compensate them to do the job that you want.
There's an old saying, hire slow and fire fast, and it is a true saying.
Right. And maybe to be a little bit more pithy, but you can't find a unicorn by taping a horn on a horse's head, right? And so just saying, hey, HR manager, you're now in charge of marketing too, because we see you in front of a keyboard on occasion. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And
right.
If you're going to do that, you have to set employees up for success by giving them limited frameworks, by sharing the exact things that they're expected to do, and or just finding a good partner, like any of the people that are on this call, right, to connect with and to help guide them on that journey.
I think where employers get lost is they don't understand. They think that at some point maybe they need to have somebody in there doing that function. Well, we already have the HR person, so why not have this person also do the marketing piece and whatever else? And what you fail to understand is, one, this person is not being productive by any means. So therefore, the company's not seeing the productivity. And if you took a look at what you're actually rolling in and paying this person or hiring somebody to do, when you could outsource that. So maybe the marketing could be outsourced to someone like BizzyWeb, and some of the PR stuff out to Sterling Cross or whatnot. So when you start taking a look at, maybe it is more beneficial and economical to outsource that rather than have somebody in-house doing it, or asking somebody to kind of limp along doing it, because it's not creating the outcome that they want.
And it's not so much that they have to outsource to somebody like us as a partner. Another buzzword you're going to hear this year is job training. Mm-hmm. And on the job training, there, somebody like Heather could be brought in to consultant work and coach and train. Mm-hmm. Somebody like myself could train on marketing aspects or communication. Somebody like you could train on digital aspects. This is something that the companies that are going to go through this process of trying to maybe combine some positions really are going to have to invest in some cross training of that person to make sure that they have the skills for that to be able to meet the expectations of their new role.
Mm-hmm. Right. And setting them up for success and giving them small things to learn on, right? You don't want to have your marketing manager, your brand new minted marketing manager that was flipping burgers yesterday, taking care of all of these things, and all of a sudden have to deal with an upset customer, right? because they'll probably say something that your company is going to regret. And we've all had clients that have done those things where they might have responded a little off the cuff, especially with business owners. This tends to be the case where we tend to take things a little bit more personally and or rebut a little bit more harshly than we need to. You have to understand that business is all about having somewhat of a thick skin in the days of, or in this new world of being able to fire off tweets and change the entire course of the presidential election, right? It gets tempting to just fire
president
things off.
tweets,
right? And at the same time, Twitter doesn't know how to make money. So is it going to be around next year? Who knows? So this is an interesting time for marketers, and it's an interesting time for business owners because we need to find guides that can help us on this, and you need to make small, measured bets and figure out what things are going to work to help wake up your business and take it to that next level. So this is fantastic, and I don't want to keep you guys for too long here today because we all have busy schedules, and we want to whet people's appetites instead of giving them too much, right? So what I do want to leave for the viewers of the regular Busy webinars, first, this is a somewhat new format that we're going to be revisiting monthly. This is part of what I call the BuzzCast at BizzyWeb, which is conversations with business luminaries. And so Chris and Heather, thank you very much for being the first guests on the BuzzCast.
Thanks, Dave.
wow.
Yeah, this is going to be a tremendous event that we've got coming up. I'm going to leave it in the comments for the Busy webinar, as well as on the YouTube live video that we're taping right now. But if you go to Wake Up, or if you go to wakeupmy.biz, you'll be able to register for the event. And early bird registration is $125 per person. If you register after our cutoff, which I think is about 3 weeks out, is that right? Mm-hmm. It'll go up to $175. Regardless, you're going to get a half day of intense training and know-how and strategy on what you need to know and do in order to take your business in the right direction and kind of step up to growth. And for lack of a better term, wake up your business. And so, if you guys have closing thoughts or things that you want to make sure that that our listeners know about, we're going to share this on all of our social channels.
Sure.
But what do you want to leave for parting shots?
We look forward to seeing you. Your business will thank you later for coming.
Absolutely.
There's no time like now to invest in yourself and your business.
Right.
Yeah. And the final thing that I'll add is it's really not rocket science, but if you Google SEO, or if you Google reputation management, there are several thousands, million perhaps, links on any of the things that we're going to talk about. It's easy to find information on this stuff, but it's hard to find good information that you can trust.
And practical application.
Absolutely. We've done this. Chris, you've been in business for
15,
20
years.
Yeah. And I've been doing, BizzyWeb's been around for 17, but we've been in business. I've been doing this since 92 now. So, and Heather, you've been around for plenty long as well. And you're incredible in the strategy and what you can do. You're a multiple author. And so, we can offer so much to the folks that are interested in attending this event. But at the same time, if you go to strategic business development, it's what, remind me the URL, right, Heather?
.biz.
Strategicdevelopment.biz. That's right.
Strategicbusinessdevelopment.biz. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Chris is at Sterling Cross.
SterlingCrossGroup.com.
Okay. And BizzyWeb, BIZZY web.com. So check us out, connect up with us. You'll find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, any of those places. And I'll leave links to that in the notes for the BuzzCast. With that, I think we're good to go. So if you do have any other questions, You can connect with us. You can also tweet out to our regular hashtag, which is hashtag BizzyWebinar, BIZZY webinar. And if we do get any questions on this particular topic, I'll be sure to share out with Chris and Heather. Thank you guys both very much for your time. And we'll see you all on February 9th.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Have a great one, guys.
See you there.
Take care.